At 1 p.m. HST, I know where I will be. Ukulele Underground Podcast for you and me. Aldrine and Aaron and Kahai. And maybe Magic Mike or a guest on the fly. Ukulele Underground Podcast. Now here's the guys.
Hello everyone and welcome to a very special European version of the Ukulele Underground Podcast. My name is Aldrine Guerrero. Joining me are Mr. Aaron, the voice, Nakamura. Say what's up, Aaron.
What's up?
And Mr. Kahai, the legend Fergan. Say what's up, Kahai.
What's up?
Gentlemen, it is 11 a.m. I actually woke up before noon today so that we can have today's guest. So this is very new to me. I've had maybe one cup of matcha and that's pretty much it. I haven't
Not on number 7.
Yeah. Usually it's like 7 cups, but it's I'm awake. I'm so excited about today's guest, and let's just bring him out. Let's just not waste any time because I want to talk to this person as much as possible, get as much information, squeeze this man out of some musical information as much as possible. So here we go, the one, the only Sammy Turton. Everybody, yeah. What's up, Sammy? How's it going?
Yo. Hey man, I'm very well, thank you.
Mike Cardi Kapila brother, how are you?
I mean, I spent this morning playing Mario Kart with you, so I'm in a very good place. It was a day away for you, I think, but it was my morning.
Happy belated Zelda Day to you, by the way. To anyone celebrating, well, not me, but anyone celebrating.
Oh yeah. I definitely celebrate it. I've spent an ungodly amount of hours playing Zelda today, so that's it.
So tell the audience who's probably living on the rock, who's never, if they haven't heard of you by now, because if you even turn on any social media ukulele wise, you pop up. I'm in my Explore page and oh, it's Sammy. It's Sammy again. He's doing this thing. He's doing that thing. I'm on YouTube and here's Sammy. I'm on TikTok and there's Sammy. Sammy's everywhere. So. If the only way you'd miss this guy is if you've been living under a rock. So please tell the audience who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
So hello, my name's Sammy, but you might know me as 4-string boy. Originally I'm from the UK, but for the last 5 years I've lived in Copenhagen in Denmark, and I'm a ukulele player who mainly focuses on fingerstyle, but most people know me for my use of harmonics. And that's about it. But I'm a full-time music teacher. I sit here 24/7, always teaching online 24/7, and playing ukulele and Mario Kart. So teacher, Mario Kart, ukulele, that's my life, the end.
How'd you discover ukulele? Like, what was it that drew you into this instrument?
Oh man, it was such a freak thing, as in I just walked into a music store. Me and my wife had just moved towns in the UK, and my first thing as a music teacher is always basically scout out the local music store. One, because like shiny things, right. But the main thing is I can put my poster up there and burn all the others of all the other teachers. And so we went in there, and then straight away, like as soon as you came through the door, you were hit with this massive ukulele display. And I think I knew what a ukulele was, but I'd never met one in real life.
I've heard of those things.
I was like, I had the idea of one. I was like, unicorn, yeah, cool, I've got it. So it was. I'm primarily a bass player. That's my first instrument, and so I've always played bass for a very long time. So I was kind of like 4-string, and I also play guitar, but I'm definitely a bass player. So I had a little sit down with this instrument, and I was like, well, this is nice, and I have no idea what to do with it, but it's lovely and it's tiny. So I was like, it's a nice one to bring home. And then I thought it could be a cool one to basically try and learn and then try and teach and see how easy it was. Because I was kind of like going into it, well, how hard can this be? And I was very wrong. But I'm very glad it came home with me. So so that was pretty much it.
What was your first uke? So you bought a uke on the spot. What'd you get?
Yeah. It was a Kala, and Kala have really catchy names. So it was a C3PO R2D2.
I've had that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's the one.
The yellow
one with the red arm. Yeah, it's I can't remember. It's a KA something something, and it's a concert model, but you know, a little laminate concert model. But
Nice.
I've always been, as a bass player, like I've never been into acoustic instruments, and even on guitar, I've never been into acoustic instruments. So I've always had people, you know, gush over woods and stuff like that, and I've been like, what the fuck are these guys on about? The pickups, you know what I mean? I was like, the pickups, this one's on fire. I was like, this is what we're looking for, right? So when I looked at ukuleles, I could just see wood, and then wood, and then wood, and then wood. Yeah. So I got it from basically how it kind of looked and how it sounded. It had a pickup built into it, and I played it a little bit, but I honestly couldn't, like, even that, I couldn't tell you what the wood combination was at all. I had no clue whatsoever. But
Laminate mahogany, most likely.
Yeah, probably, yes. It was brown. Mahogany's brown, right? So that's fine. Yeah.
So is plywood.
But, yeah. And dirt. So it was it was this little Carla concert thing, and it was perfect for learning on, because kind of as a bass player. I mean, even though I am a bass player, I've got the hand size of a 7-year-old girl. So so actually coming to ukulele was actually quite pleasant on concert. But it was very, very, very much, even within the first year of playing the concert, and the way I wanted to play was very much like always like thought about going up to the tenor, but never truly did until I lost that ukulele. So and then yes, exactly.
I didn't realize this is gonna end in tragedy. I was all hyped up for it. Like, where is it? Show it to us right now. Like, you can eBay that for like $1 billion. This is the 4-string and 4-string boy. This is the 4-string.
I mean, it's you've got a good ukulele teacher when they lose the ukulele on the way to the lesson, right? That is a qualified professional teacher right there. Yeah. When you have to phone up your student and be like, well, I'm going to be late because I've lost my ukulele between leaving my house and coming to you. So it was a weird freak accident, and basically on a Saturday I go and teach in the city of Copenhagen, but I teach multiple instruments, so I had a ukulele with me, and it was a little hard case, and then I had my guitar in my bag, and then I had some other stuff in backpack and stuff, and basically the metro had to be evacuated. It was just very quickly, so everybody had to kick off, and so I had to scoop everything up quickly, but the hard case sits really nicely on the floor underneath the seat, and so it just stayed there, and so I got off everything, and then was like phoning my students and say, oh yes, I'm going to be late, there's been a problem, stuff like that, put the phone down, and then I was like, oh my God. I was like,
another phone call. I'm going to be very late.
I'm also going to be late. And also I've lost my instrument. So yeah, man, it disappeared into the Danish air. So I've no idea where it lives. Hopefully keeping somebody happy. That's all I can say.
There you go. So what'd you do for the lesson?
You know what? I actually cancelled because I was so stressed out of the whole situation. So that was it. I should have brought my air ukulele and convinced. I mean, it was teaching kids. They would have been happy. They would have been like, yeah, sick air ukulele. Yeah, but no. It was a very stressful situation. I went straight to bed.
I like the idea, right? Isn't it usually like the kids who, like, if it's like, oh, I play trumpet and I take trumpet lessons with the teacher. I gotta go someplace. It's like, oh, sorry, mister, I forgot my trumpet. I guess we can't have the lesson today. But then I've never heard the other way. There's the teacher's like,
dog
no. Nobody has, and this is why considering I still have a profession is a very good thing.
Well, now you have $1 billion to choose from. And speaking of different ukuleles, speaking of different sizes, that's actually how you first came into my radar. The guys over at one of the best podcasts in the world, the Ukulele Site podcast, like they held a contest, and you won like that baritone, right?
I did.
Oh, tell us about that.
Right. So, I mean, yes, the Ukulele Site is the greatest, and I love them. And I've never met Calais, but I want to live in his pocket. Basically, that's essentially what I want to do with my life. So I remember coming across one of their contests that they held, and it was this kind of thing. I was like, oh, this looks really cool, and I entered one. It was for this custom-made tenor, ridiculously expensive but beautiful thing. I can't remember what it was, but it looked amazing. And I entered that, and I got into the top 10, which I was like absolutely ecstatic about, because I was like, what the hell is going on here? This is amazing. And I didn't win overall, but I got in the top 10. And for me, that made it perfect. And in the long term, it was actually perfect, because I'd always wanted to try, and heard loads of people talk about uke logic strings.
Yeah.
And because there's no way of me getting them without trying to import them from Hawaii, and with Danish VAT postage on top of shipping from Hawaii, it was like, I'm sure they're great, but my God, they're not going to be worth all that, unfortunately. So I couldn't do that. And then because I like landed myself in the top 10, I won $100 gift card from the Ukulele Site. So I was like, I know what this is going on. And most of it went on postage, but I did get some strings out of it as well. So I grabbed the Uke Logic different setups that I totally could, grabbed them, brought them, and absolutely fell in love with them. And like now they're like my string of choice. I use them on every instrument. So without that, I wouldn't have been able to discover those strings. So I was already thankful of that. They're ticked off. They've already made me perfect, because I love Joel and he's the best. And then I had another competition where I was thinking, and I'm not a very spiritual person, but sometimes coincidences happen that you have to smile about. And basically I wanted a baritone, because I'm a very tenor player. And I was like, I think the way that I play could be nice on a baritone, but I couldn't afford a baritone or couldn't find the right one. And then the Ukulele Site literally released this competition and said, oh yeah, we're giving away this baritone. So I was like, cool, sick. That's what Daddy's going for. And I did a cover of Owl City Fireflies, which was very, again, harmonic based. And a couple of weeks before, Calais had on the podcast made up this little harmonic riff that he was showing off and challenged everybody, and they'd all challenge and be like, oh, can you play this riff? So I cockily obviously played the riff, but played it everywhere then. Yeah, so I woke up to everybody tagging me, and I was like, what the hell is going on? And they were just like, so I was like, cool, perfect. So I played that riff, and then the end of Owl City, I added that riff in for him as well, just to try and sweeten the deal, try and really, emotionally blackmail him.
I can do better. What I'm not
just trying to get in there. But I mean, yeah, it was. I was very lucky, and that's it. I won that beautiful Pono, and
nice.
Thank you to that Pono, because it's my love of baritone has been discovered, and like in the album that I'm writing, I think I have 11 tracks and 5 of them are baritone.
Nice.
So I play so much baritone nowadays, and again, it wouldn't have been for the Ukulele Site that I could have had that ukulele and had the discovery of doing it. And then the same the strings as well, man. So, like I said, beautiful coincidences, both of them were, that I'm extremely grateful for.
Nice. Well, on your speaking of Calais, on your website, he has a quote. I didn't even know I had a quote. I have a quote on your website. I just found out, But I saw Calais' quote, and it's like something like, it sounds like he has 6 fingers, or it sounds like he has 6 hands or something, right? Amazing.
Yeah. Oh man, I know. It's very much that. I feel quite embarrassed by it, but me and my wife works basically behind the scenes on everything that I do, and she always has. So essentially, I'm just the smiling face, and she's the one who puts everything very closely together. And so basically, she's always like, "Oh, if somebody said something nice about you or worthy, then it's good to collate it." And I'm always like, I feel really bad, dirty about it. But yeah. So it's so that's why they said. But yeah, it was in from that podcast that he said that. So it was it was very, very sweet. The faces that man made are embossed in my brain forever. It was the best. I think the best compliment you can get as a musician is when another musician looks like they're dying, and that is like absolute win. You
have to show us your hands now, just to prove you only have 5 fingers. There.
That's it. Look, there we go.
Calais, see count next time, buddy. All right. Well, so I was perusing your website, fourstringboy.com, right? Fourstringboy.com.
Yeah, that's right.
Yo, so much good stuff in there. You have like tabs,
bless
you
your
have
soul.
lessons, you have like private lessons and whatnot, and it's all like packaged up neatly into Four String Friends. So tell us about Four String Friends.
Yeah, man, that's exactly it. So it's a long time ago. I started a Patreon, as I think that is if you do any kind of social media and you're a musician, then the kind of two come in hand in hand. And Patreon is good and very good to me, but one of the problems that I always had people saying was like, I can't find anything on Patreon because it's laid out so weird sometimes and things like that. And I'm a bit of an organizational nerd for things like that. So I was like, oh man. So I tried my best to organize it on the Patreon, but then it occurred to me like, surely I can just make it all tidier and a bit sexier by just putting it all on my website. So essentially that's all it is. So it's basically all the stuff always comes from my website. So all the tabs that are there available to purchase, but I was like actually putting it into one big bundle accessible on the website. It just makes it a lot easier and nicer. So, and I think some people are scared of Patreon or don't know what it is. So, Four String Boy is less scary than Patreon, I think. So, maybe.
Well, I've subscribed to a bunch of Patreon, and you're right. Like, it's just if somebody posts like something new, then everything else kind of gets buried. Like, it's just
it's just like a Facebook feed, right? So that's essentially it. Yeah.
So if there was something that you're working on, like you just have to like really dig into like where was that? Like how many weeks ago was that? You know?
Totally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's almost it's built for the short kind of thing. You know what I mean? The longevity. If you want to access one of my lessons or tabs or something that was from 2 years ago, then you got to go digging.
Yeah.
So,
because I mean, like just Fingerstyle Fursday alone, like you have how many volumes of that by now?
Okay. Yeah. So there are four volumes. There's 75 pieces, and then there's 2 spin-off volumes, a harmonics and a tremolo edition. So that's 5 more pieces, and then there'll be more. So yeah. There's a lot of pieces over there.
That's wow. How do you? My gosh! Like so, how do you like? How do you even decide like what to do for something as Fingerstyle Fursday? Is it something you write, something that you cover? Like, what do you do?
So, Fingerstyle Fursday, the way it started was basically it was I'm a private teacher, and so it's basically most of my time is spent teaching online and stuff like that. And a long time ago, I wanted to be a video game composer. And
nice.
I tried to spend a lot of time like building the backlog and stuff like that. And it's a very competitive industry, and it was basically I just didn't quite have the stones to go forward with it or the belief to go forward with it. And so I was teaching and found it quite stressful to try and do the two, so I left it. But then when it came to it, I was like, well, I'd like to do some still compositional work. And as a teacher over the years, I've always designed exercises for my students because obviously you want them to practice chord techniques. You need them to practice scales and chords and arpeggios and stuff like that. But if it sounds nice, and obviously this is why songs are great, right? But it's not every song is laid out how I want it to be and how I want them to practice things. So I've always written, whether it's on piano or bass or guitar or anything, I've always written exercises for it. And so it basically came to the point where I was like, well, I should probably start doing this with ukulele, but offering it on Instagram so people can, learn it for free and stuff like that. And I'd say it was an hour and a half window on a Thursday morning. And that's hence why I wanted it to be Fingerstyle Fridays. But basically, I didn't have Friday free, so it had to be Fingerstyle Thursday. But, so I was like, well, a lot of the time the British, you can get away. People say Thursday. It's Thursday, mate. It's Thursday. So I went with Fingerstyle Thursday. And, it was basically that hour and a half was for me to sit and just create. So basically in that hour and a half, I could sit, create, come up with an idea. I'd have an idea of like either a technique or like a theoretical thing that I'd like to show off and teach. So I just had to write a piece around that. And then it was kind of getting it all written out and then get a tutorial recorded and bang it on. I mean, back in the day, it was very quick. was like an Instagram carousel. So you'd have like
Yeah.
10 videos, but the carousels could only be a minute long each. And because I'm an idiot and couldn't work out any other better system, I'd just put my camera on and be watching the time. And so, you know, it'd be 58, 59, I'd be like, and just have to stop it. Yeah. So that's how I'd always do that. And it kind of just developed from there. So every week, that was like my week to sit down and actually be creative and have this little time for it. And people seem to enjoy it and stuff, which makes it even, it gives you the motivation to create it even more, you know what I mean? So it's when people like it and are saying, oh, we totally resonate with this thing, they're like, oh, cool, this is cool. So I'll continue the series. And then 75 pieces later, I've decided to give it a rest for a little while.
I mean, you mentioned ukulele for video game music, or just composing video game music in general. That's actually the trail of crumbs that I followed. So like when you commented on that podcast with Calais and talking about Mario Kart and stuff, who is this guy? Like, why does he want my hat? You know? So I clicked on it and I went to your YouTube. I'm like, and at that time I was very heavily invested in maybe my third playthrough of Persona 5 Golden. And I saw you had a cover of that song from Persona 5. I'm like, oh my god, who is this guy? I need to know this guy right now. We need to be best friends. We need to play Mario Kart soon. So I think I bothered you for like a long time. Like, yo, hey Sammy, you have time, man? You want to play Mario Kart? Oh no, that's cool if you're busy. That's fine. It's cool. Maybe tomorrow. Is that, it's kind of like asking like someone's parents, like, hey, can Sammy come out to play, please? Is Sammy not sick yet? Is he better? Can he come out to play now? But like that, and then like the Great Fairy Fountain, like I follow that crumb, and I'm just like, this is gold. Do people not know this guy? People should know who this person is. And I'm like, oh, he's got like a bajillion followers on Instagram and TikTok and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess people have heard of him.
Yeah, man, I try and squeeze the video game covers in when I can, because I think a lot of people don't, or like anytime I've covered them on any instrument, people are like, oh my god, that's a beautiful piece of classical music or jazz or something. Like, what is it? And you're like, it's from Final Fantasy X. So and they're like, oh my god, who's Beethoven? So it's there's so much fantastic music in there that as soon as you put it as like an instrumental piece, then it catches people's attention. I think as soon as you take it out of the media where you have to push X or something like that. So
I mean, I think video game music is so underrated. I mean, people know like the classic like Mario and Zelda and stuff, and that like clicks pretty fast, but then you have like some beautiful pieces, like you said, Final Fantasy X. I think Suteki Dane from Final Fantasy X, and basically the whole Persona 5 soundtrack, like that whole thing belongs in like a jazz museum. That thing is so good. It's amazing.
Okay, so I was so obsessed with the Persona 5 soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
So obsessed with the music that there is. I have another YouTube channel out there, and I made. I made a mashup album of Ocarina of Time versus Persona 5. And so basically I did like the Zelda tracks in the style of Persona 5. And then I did the Persona 5 tracks, but in the style of like N64 MIDI and stuff like that. So it's, I've always been obsessed with the Persona music, man. It's insanely good.
Yeah, it's
so good.
If you guys, I mean, any fan of music, not just jazz or whatever, like if you're a fan of music, check out Persona 5. Like that
it's so funky.
Or just the soundtrack. You don't even have to play the game. Just listen to the soundtrack. It's so good. So good.
So good.
Good. All right. So, one more thing before we open it up for questions. I know people are like dying to like ask you questions, and I have some questions myself. But so you mentioned you're doing an album. Yeah, because you mentioned the baritone and stuff, and the 11 tracks, 5 of them are baritones. Tell us about that.
Cool. So I'm writing an album called Vejr. It's just a Danish word that means weather. And so every single track is basically named after a weather. And because Denmark has the moodiest, shittest weather, and I come from England, which has the moodiest, shittest weather. It's basically all of the tracks are kind of moody and kind of ambient sound. I've had one that's called Sunshine, and basically that's not it. But I gave myself one of 11 is totally fine. But it originally started with, and it came from Fingerstyle Fursday. And originally I had the idea, and I was like, could I make a Fingerstyle Fursday album where I take my Fingerstyle Fursday tracks and like I just give it some backing, you know what I mean? So I thought I could do that, and like piano and strings and whatever, and try that. And I did that, and then that was basically the very first track that I recorded for the album. And it was Fingerstyle Fursday 12 on the album. It's called 12 Degrees Celsius. But it was basically I did that, and then it came to putting other Fingerstyle Fursday tracks in, and then basically I just started to almost adapt them and turn them into songs, because the Fingerstyle Fursday pieces are between 30 seconds and 40 seconds long. You know what I mean? So they really, as pieces, they're not, and I needed to make them bigger, and I didn't want to just sit there and repeat it over and over and over again. Number eight. I wasn't any of that. So it was, so I started to adapt them and build them up. And once I'd done that with some Fingerstyle Thursdays, that's when I actually started writing for the idea of writing an album and started to craft pieces from the complete scratch. But again, all of them, I wanted it, because I'm known as a ukulele player, and even though I do play, all these instruments and stuff like that, I feel like a ukulele player, and I wanted it to be a ukulele album and not detract from that and everything. So every single track started on ukulele, and the instrumentation was basically kind of meant to support it. And I wanted it to be so that, I know it might sound like a silly thing to you guys, but for example, here in Denmark, it's not seen as such a credible instrument. It's getting there, but it's not massively, and I'm not about that shit. That needs to change. Yeah, you know what I mean? And so like if I can do that by making music that definitely didn't sound like it came from a ukulele, and it's just how I play, you know what I mean? But with the backing and everything, if it can be, people can listen to it as music and go, that's a ukulele, then I'll be extremely happy. Right. And so that's kind of where the album's got to at that point, and that's the mission that I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I love albums with with like a concept, with a goal, and this is shaping up to be a must listen when it comes out, which is when?
Oh, bless you. 2034. So hopefully by I've literally just finished recording the last track last week. Okay. So they're just getting mastered and stuff like that. But originally I was doing it all on my own, so I recorded it all here and did it all and everything. But we're being a bit more serious with it now. I'm working with a Danish publisher, so nice. I'm basically, they're getting all mastered, because at the time I was like, nah, whatever, it's just me doing it, so they don't have to be shiny, but I want to actually make it the best they can be. Nice. So they'll get mastered, so hopefully I'm going to say September. Okay, all right. Well, hopefully. When did you finish the last track? Like when? I finished what day?
I
finished recording it last Tuesday.
Okay, does that have anything to do with Legend of Zelda coming out today?
The fact that I cleared all my schedule completely for it. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I had one lesson booked in today. One.
It was how to turn on your Switch to play Legend of Zelda.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Oh, if we just listen to the background of this while I just do this thing to activate the music, so you can have a listen. Yeah.
Close your eyes and just really take it in. Take in the music.
Exactly this is a C chord, and then there's a da 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 da. Don't mind that.
Do you hear that arpeggio? Good arpeggios. Now figure it out. Go to the side, figure it out, and don't come back here until you figure it out.
Have you ever tried to play that little run on the ukulele?
I have tried to play it on guitar, where like I definitely have the amount of notes for it.
Yeah. It's only because it's a really fun run on the. It's just
it is.
Between this.
Oh, here we go. Oh,
between the C and the E. So
get ready. This is like 90 euros per year, guys. You know.
It's just that run. I never figured out the end of it, but it's always. Da, 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 and that's it. So I need to work out the end of that, and then we're good.
That'll be 10 euros, everybody. Just send it to Sammy's PayPal.
That's perfect. If it's not here in 5 seconds, I'm gone. So.
All right, so let us open our guests up and let's put them in the hot seat and let's just have everybody ask questions. I'm sure people have burning questions for you, Sammy. So let's go. Let's take the first question, Kahai.
Angela asked, question. Sammy is going to Berlin. Any plans to visit anywhere else in the next year?
Oh, in the next year, yes. So I will be at Berlin in June, and then next March, I'm basically teaming up with Ukulele Safari. So I'll be leading a Ukulele Safari thing in March. So technically, I'll be going to Kenya in next March. Will be cool. As for, I know, it's mind-blowing and I'm very excited. As for other places at the moment, I'm still very kind of new to the live playing scene. I did a UK tour last year and stuff like that, but this year I've actually got to basically invest in some equipment and just doing it. So whilst I'm trying to set it all up and everything, I just don't have the equipment at the moment. So it's basically the very start of it. So I have no plans at the moment, but I'm trying to book in other things. So
nice.
I'll be playing live around places.
And they can find the dates on 4stringboy.com, right?
You know what? No. That's how much I'm just not gigging.
If you do gig, do you have like a calendar somewhere where people can find like where you're gigging at?
I will definitely put it on 4stringboy when that's the thing.
There it is. There it is.
4stringboy.com. Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
What?
One-stop shop. All things Sammy.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Everything's there.
What is the Ukulele Safari? Because like when I heard that, I was like, that sounds so cool. And our version of it would have to be like ukulele food tour. Because we don't have anything. We don't have anything.
I'm trying to
like
navigate around these musabis.
Get ready,
guys.
Shea Bites is coming up. Oh wow.
It's basically a safari getaway for like 10 days, 2 weeks kind of thing.
Nice.
This is led by a lady called Michaela who lives in Kenya and basically organizes things like that. And the idea is that basically you go around on this safari and have like go around and spend time in these lovely resorts, go see safaris and stuff. But you're also a ukulele player. And so, for example, the last one was done by Boris Mogilevsky, who's a big, lovely Carla artist over on Instagram. And basically, the way that he handled it was that they wrote songs about each of, after at the end of each day, and kind of wrote songs about it. And I'm sure, obviously, he taught them, bits of theory and feelings and stuff like that. Yeah. And so that'll be the same thing, but on mine, it'll just basically be Fingerstyle Fursday Safari Edition. So we'll just be creating Fingerstyle Thursdays, and again, I'll talk about the theory of how you can fingerstyle and stuff like that. So it's kind of safari, but you kind of write these songs and learn a bit about music as you're going along as well.
Nice. Well, when I heard Ukulele Safari, because a long time, I mean, I've been around the ukulele scene a long time, and the first thing that came to mind was Bosco and Honey. Do you remember Bosco and Honey? Like, they had.
It's not connected.
I know. Yeah, but that's the first thing that came to my mind. So a long time ago, there was a duo called Bosco and Honey, and they would do this. Like they're from Australia, but they did this like tour around the world, and they call it like Ukulele Safari. I don't know if it still exists like on YouTube and stuff, but that was what I thought of. I'm like, oh, you're doing Bosco and Honey, but and you mentioned someone else. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sit in the back because I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. But I mean, Ukulele Safari, every time I hear it, it's kind of like, that's like the last thing you want to do when you're like up against like a lion or something, is play ukulele. You just don't want to bother.
I mean, there's plenty of diminished chords in there for your demise.
I guess so.
That's
Get out of
fine.
here, lion.
So, yeah. Flat 5 death. Flat 5 death. Flat 5 death. Yeah.
Sharp 11s. More. Let's give them more attention.
Yeah. Dissonance. That person won't taste good. I don't want to eat that person.
Yeah,
exactly. That's
that person tastes like jazz.
I could just
play the right notes. Anyway, sorry, Abe. So, next question, Guy.
Chudley Flusher said, "Why not the banjolele?"
I mean, it's a very good question. I've never played a banjolele. I don't like the sound of them. That's quite simple. I've never played one, but yeah.
That's the correct answer.
I don't enjoy the sound of a banjo or a banjolele, I'm afraid. So that's essentially it.
Yeah. So, just comment below if you're a banjo artist and you're like, let's start the website anti4stringboy.com.
I mean, I already call myself a low G racist, so just add banjolele to that as well, so that's fine.
Oh yeah, it's a coalition of anti-4-string boys.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
I'm gonna go to his safari and go into a lion suit just so I can.
He's gonna dress up as a lion. Like he's not eating him at
Playing
all. He's just
banjolele.
stabbing him. That lion is stabbing Sammy.
I'm gonna. It's so weird. He mauled him and then he left a banjolele on his body.
On two legs.
Can you get a banjolele in a low G?
I think you can if you know
Oh.
if you wish hard enough.
Sacrilege to
That's
all
good.
banjo
That's good.
players.
I feel like
that is the ultimate. That is the ultimate scum of the earth, and yeah.
I feel like we have to send you one now as like a challenge, right?
Banjolele Tuesdays. All right. Next question, Guy.
This one is pretty specific too, I think, and I don't know if it's for Sammy or just for everybody, right?
Okay.
Andre said, "Are you coming to Cynthia and Cynthia Lynn / Abe, Lenny, U3 concert? And do you like and do tours yourself?"
They're going to Europe soon. Maybe that's why they're asking. 'Cause
They are,
I know they're doing a
yeah.
tour in Europe. Are you going to see them while they're there?
Maybe it's because they're doing Enough, aren't they? So they're at Enough, which is the same weekend as Berlin, which always confuses me that the two are at the same time. But they're doing that, and then yes, I know they're going to France, and they said maybe Amsterdam. So if they're going to Amsterdam, then that is something I'd like to pop over and see,
Nice.
especially so I can, finally trash talk Lenny about Mario Kart. But I would love, yes, if I would love to see them live and do it. But I need to check out their dates. But yes, I have no tours coming up, but I did do a UK tour last year, and that was officially my first time playing live as well as a ukulele player. So it's I definitely will be doing more and more of that. It's just album time has been a priority at the moment.
That was the second part of the question, Kai. What was the second part?
And do you like / do tours yourself? So
Yeah.
pretty much.
I like and do.
Great. Next question. All right, next question, Kai.
Brad said, "What's up with your felt pick?
Boom.
And-
First big one of the day.
What's the logistics of that too?"
Cool. I get asked this 5 times a day.
Yeah.
So basically, it's the whole reason it started is because my skin is stupid, and basically it gets aggravated quite easily. So don't ask me why on these 2 fingers it doesn't. But I use when I strum down with the pad of my thumb, and that's the tone I like. I don't like the sharp nails, and that's why I do that. And it got to a point where basically my skin would always blister and basically just die out of my thumb, so I couldn't use my thumb at all. And my immediate thought was like, okay, I'll buy a felt pick and then try and flat pick and strum it. And I had a day of that before I was like, nope, that's not going to happen. I'm not doing that whatsoever. So as a fingerstyle player, I wanted to try and get the best way around it. And I was like, what the hell? And I was like, thumb picks exist on guitar. I've never played with one, but I was like, that's surely a thing. So I bought a thumb pick and tried it, and I was like, oh God, no. the plastic sound on the strings is what I hated it. So I was like, okay, the felt is nice. I played with the felt pick before. When I first started playing ukulele, I experimented with them and quite like the sound. But now, primarily as a fingerstyle player, I need these fingers free. So it was basically how easily can you glue this to your thumb without it coming off? And so all it is basically I took a thumb pick and heavily modified it.
Okay, nice. So it's shorter.
the pick,
so shorter.
Yeah, the pick bit is actually removed. So basically all I do is kind of slot the thumb in, the felt in, and then I wear it like that. And that's essentially it. It's, a terrible, ugly setup, but it works for me. And the good news is I'm working on a much more refined setup. But for the moment, this is basically it. But it was extremely clumsy and hard work to use it to start with because of the extra depth of the pick. I just wasn't used to playing it. But now I'm so used to playing with it and I really love the tone of the felt. So actually now without it, I occasionally play with it, and I actually don't like the sound of just my naked thumb anymore. So it's always, I think, even if my thumb is better, I will always use this felt thumb pick.
Have you seen anybody else do something like that? Because if you haven't, that's like something you can patent. You can just sell those, like on 4stringboy.com.
I think that's what he was alluding to.
yeah. So without saying too much. Yeah.
Good. Nobody steal that. Nobody steal that idea.
Yeah.
Nobody steal it. Kahai, get our people working on that right away.
My idea is to get the plastic fingernails, and just line it underneath with felt, right? And then so you can.
Okay, nobody steal that idea either.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
It'll be available on our website, 4stringman.com.
Yeah.
4string dude.
Don't you want fingernails that look like it has like something growing underneath it coming out? So
Yeah.
We'll have a thumb pick with the magician's thumb sticking out.
So you put a whole new thumb on.
Yeah. Okay, we're cutting this part out of the podcast. Just nobody steal any of these ideas. Yeah. Gold, everyone.
Too good.
Okay.
Start the podcast over. Okay.
Start the podcast over.
Yeah.
All right. Coming up with that, but like when you call yourself like a fingerstyle player, so when you were playing guitar, like because I see an acoustic guitar behind you, you're playing, and how was that like on your bare thumb that you say blisters all the time? That's like steel strings. Like what you used to do then?
I never played fingerstyle guitar ever. So I've always been a pick pick player. So always played, and mostly on electrics or even acoustics. Never would play fingerstyle. So it was only on ukulele that I started playing fingerstyle.
See, Kahai, another fan of the gent. he loves genting.
He does love genting. Yes.
Big fan of the
Very
gent,
much.
are you? Okay.
Yes. Oh, big fan. Yes.
What about bass? If you're coming from bass, is there bass techniques that you've transferred over to ukulele?
Good question.
That is a good question. I don't think there's anything that I do that anybody else has not done before. So I will just use, because I'm a bass player, these two kids work very well, basically independently like that. So that's absolutely fine. So it was for a lot of things, where you've got like a constant thumb going underneath and you've got these two going on. So not quite tremolo, but more as where there's just, just that essentially. So your thumb's going at the same time as your index finger. That's it. I don't think that's nothing revolutionary. Everybody does that. But that I find very easy because those two go. And it was the same with tremolo. I've never tried to play tremolo. Like I said, on guitar, I was not a fingerstyle player at all. But when it came to tremolo, actually, these two kids again worked quite well for me years of a bass player. So things like that I found actually easier to get them with because the muscle memory was there.
Well, with the use of the felt pick, since we were talking about that earlier, and just using these two, I actually really what I really like about that is when you're finger picking, you're usually either hitting the C, and you're a high G player because you're a low G racist.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, fully.
so
sounds so
you're
bad.
either playing a. But you're friends with Brittany Paiva. How does that work?
See, and that's the thing. I love it when everybody else plays low G. I just don't love it when I play low G. So I'm low G racist against myself.
It's just not in your
not
family,
anybody
right?
else.
Yeah. Okay.
No, yeah, that's
Just,
I can't do it.
yeah. No string mixing with you. Anyway, so with the thumb that you're using the felt pick with, you're either hitting the low G, which is no, not low, but the low C, which is your bass, which is your bass string, or the high G, which then becomes kind of like that drone. So with the felt pick, that gives it a really nice, like, kind of subtle sound, as opposed to like the low string just kind of overpowering the rest. So I dig it, man.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, I find that very much too. Like I said, I'm so used to the sound of the felt pick now that because I'm a bass player, no nails, so I don't ever have nails on this hand. And listening to always, all the players talk about their nail techniques and stuff like that, I'm just like, sweet Lord, you know what I mean? It's so out of my world that I can't do that. So I've always had no nails, and because of that, my fingers have like quite a soft sound onto it. And that's, I think, why I've always been drawn to the felt, because it kind of matches that softness to it. So it does even itself out.
I see. Okay, well, more power to you, because whenever I hear like the low G, especially low G players, like that use thumb pick, and I think when you had Brittany here, I brought this up with her, that like the plastic of the the thumb pick against that low G is so jarring, but the way that she does it, the way that like that Herb Alta Jr. does it, like I don't know what kind of like magic powder that they put in their drinks that allows them to be this super subtle and super soft. I can't.
Yeah. No, and that's what I mean about like with Brittany. Like I love her sound, love her as a player. So when she plays it, to me, like I said, when I play low G, it sounds like I'm playing low G, right? That G, you can really sound it. But yeah, like her, you can it all blends into one. It is not obvious at all, I think, when she's playing, that whether it's a high G or a low G, it completely all blends and is kind of smooth. So yes, it's nice like that.
Yeah. Kahai, question.
Angela said, question, how did you discover you were a magician with harmonics?
Right, I know, yes. I know Angela, so and hi Angie. As a musician, you were never a magician of anything. So you find something that you can't do, and then basically it's hours and hours and hours of practice behind the scenes until you get good at it. And that's unfortunately it, you know what I mean? I liked the sound of harmonics when I discovered them, and as a guitarist, again, I'd never really looked into harmonics massively, but it was all the left hand kind of thing. So the right hand thing hadn't, and it was watching, again, Tobias Aloha play and listening to his use of harmonics. I was like, wow, that's like such a beautiful sound and stuff. So I was like, I really need to look into that. And so I've only ever thought about adopting the right hand technique with it. And it's just the sheer perseverance of playing it all. And I teach harmonic techniques a lot, you know what I mean? So it's and people are always like, well, how are you so good at them? And the only thing we can all appreciate as a musician is it's just repetition. If you played harmonics as much as you played strumming, then you'd be able to play them as easily as you can strum. It's no different. It's just we often see harmonics as like an extra technique that you don't play in every song, but the difference is I literally use it in every song. So it was always basically just digging and burying that technique into my hands, and it just gets easier and easier and easier with time. So no discovery, just patience.
Yeah, and you are quite a magician, and I mean, maybe because you're saying there's no such thing as magic. You're like a sleight of hand artist with the you're an illusionist. That's it, guy. Right? That's what they call them, illusionists.
My secret to my harmonics is my long sleeves. I hide my extra hand in my long sleeves, and it's a baby hand, and it just comes out.
A third hand that comes out of the sleeve and just does the.
Perfect.
There's an extra.
We don't want to reveal too much
in my thumb tip that comes out. So.
Yeah, that's it. So, well, how?
I mean,
go ahead.
I see many other ukulele players use harmonics all the time, so I don't see ever any difference in my playing harmonics versus anybody else playing harmonics.
Oh,
I think all the players that I watch.
That's flat out lying, Sammy. How dare you lie to my audience? You know you're really good at it, okay? That's what we're trying to say, all right? Just take the compliment. You're really good.
Banjolele hate, we could let go. Low G racist, we could let go.
Hate, even the racism. but this is take the compliment. Now you're very good, and just I think your approach on it, and I think for me, it's really the proficiency and the speed that you do harmonics at, because like. And your approach to it, because of the angle of the thumb pick that you have, that changes a lot of things. Because for us as nail players, we kind of have to have that. Yeah. We have to change the angle around and try to get the harmonics from a different angle. Whereas you, since it's this way, you have that speed that just that none of us can really do unless we, like you said, hours and hours of practice. But I don't have Mario Kart to play, man.
That score isn't going to up itself. No, it's so. Like I said, I will stand by the ground that I don't think I can play harmonics any better than I've seen other ukulele players play harmonics. But I think that the only difference is my approach to it, and that is the fact of that basically it's often when people use harmonics, it's kind of we have a harmonic section, so you play a harmonic riff, and then that's it. You know what I mean? And I always try. Essentially, for me, it's like as a synth player, if you had an octave up button. And that's always how I see it. So whenever I'm playing chord melody and I need to play something on the 13th fret, I never think of the 13th fret. I'm thinking of the first fret plus the harmonic.
I see.
And that's always how I'm thinking about it, because I don't want my hands racing. I'm too lazy for that. I can't have my hands racing around the fretboard. So instead, I'm trying to produce those notes the easiest way I can, and actually just where I play on the ukulele is, above the sound hole and quite on the fretboard, because I like the nice, warm, soft tone. So I am actually quite close to where the harmonics live anyway. So that is an easier jump for me than actually moving my left hand all the way.
So you're talking about like the harmonic part of the song. When guys do it, that's the part that jumps out at you. So you're like that kid who's like, why isn't the whole cake made out of frosting? So you just made a whole frosting cake. Like that's the whole like Vejr album, right? It's just like a cake made of frosting, but super moody.
It's so moody. The moodiest frosting ever.
Sad kid eating cake. That's what it is.
Sad cake.
All right. So, question again, Kahai.
I want to ask a question too.
Sure.
Like,
personal. Here we go. Here we go.
So, what video game song do you think is the best? What is the best video game?
Oh, you're starting to start wars, guy.
Oh my god.
How dare you?
Oh my god. No. Whatever I say, I'm going to regret it instantly. Oh no.
Because see here, Sammy, if you say anything other than Mega Man 2, we're ending the podcast right now. I feel like we're going to end the podcast.
Okay. Well, I've had a lovely time. It's been great. So thank you for having me. I'd say my biggest love for video game music is probably either in the Final Fantasy or Persona series. That's, I think, definitely where my love for pieces are. So I'm going to end this and then think of 30 other ideas and be very annoyed. But yeah, Final Fantasy X for me has lots of the Zanarkand piano intro. The whole thing about that is, I think that's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece of music. So that is good. But then again, the Persona 5, the Beneath the Mask, that constant, that. Oh Lord, yes, exactly. That is, I could listen to that forever, and so I'm going to go with that. Persona 5 Beneath the Mask. That is, I could listen to that on loop forever.
I guess you can stay on the podcast because I might have to agree. Yeah. Because that game is like, it's like 100+ hours long, and you hear that song constantly for like the whole 100-something hours, and you're like, I'm not tired of this song at all.
No, never, no.
Yeah.
I have an argument for a better song.
All right, here we go. So are we firing somebody today, Aaron?
Is it on the banjolele? Is that what is played?
Low G, banjolele.
Why is the Wii Shop song the best video game song of all time?
Okay, all right.
You can't deny that.
All right, okay.
All right, I see memes, guy.
Yeah, perfect.
No, it's actually the best.
Yeah, no, actually, yeah, I regret my first decision, and that's absolutely it. We want to expect the video where you can sing along all the titles as well, so that's perfect.
We can do this all day. I mean, Guile's theme is the best theme. Like, it's goes with everything. More questions, Guy.
Okay, so Andre said, your choice of songs is also very good. Do you choose them based on feeling and taste, or are they suggestions or wishes from the followers?
Cool. Well, thank you. That's very nice to hear. On my Patreon and 4-String Friends, basically, I ask for suggestions every month, and I pick at least one of them. But no, usually the songs that I choose are just from my moody music choice. So there's lots of Radiohead and Muse and kind of that 2000s, 90s alternate rock, and that is very much where my heart lies. Very much of that is what, when I was learning guitar, it was lots of Nirvana, it was lots of Radiohead, lots of Muse, and so that has stayed with me for the entire time, and so I constantly love that. And again, like I said, I am deep rooted in like video game and film music, so I appreciate anything like that. So any like big themes like the Interstellar theme, the Mandalorian theme, the music from The Last of Us, you know what I mean? All of that is absolutely beautiful, and I love that. So it's deeply moody music that finds its way in. So I do try and inject, but like I said, it will be that forever. So I kind of think like, oh man, people are going to be fed up with this shit. So I do ask for suggestions every time, and just to keep me on my toes, because one of my most favorite things as a music teacher is when people give me suggestions for new music that they want to learn, and I've never heard of it. So I have to go listen to it, and I'm like, this is perfect. This is amazing. I had a Danish pianist who asked to play. There's a Danish duo called Bremer and McCoy. It's a pianist and a double bass player, and she wanted to learn lots of their songs. And I listened to the album, and it's legitimately like one of my most favorite albums that I listen to every single day. And it's like, without that student and that person, I would have never known these people existed. So that is one of my most favorite things, that when people suggest to have a listen and discover new things.
I have one for you, okay? Straight from AG himself. Look up, there's an album called, and see, this is me and Calais, Gamiao's favorite, and I'm talking favorite harmonic song, okay?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So there's an album, so Aaron already knows. There's an album called Dream Speaking by an ukulele player named Imua Garza. If you're not familiar with Imua Garza, he's like if you're thinking like James Hill's an alien from out of this world and stuff, he is from like the next universe. So Imua Garza, Dream Speaking, he does like there's a song in that album, and the whole album is great. He's an ukulele player here in Hawaii, but he turned producer, so he kind of went in the background. He's super successful, like not one of those like, oh, it's too bad we didn't have him in ukulele, because he's just fine.
Wow.
But he does a song called Jinky Finds the Catnip. And there's a harmonic line in there that me and Calais, because we used to travel together, you know, and we used to tour and stuff, and both of us were just like pulling our hairs out, like, how is he doing that? Like, how is he doing that line? There's one kind of line in that in that song that he does. It's a harmonic, it's a harmonic sweep basically. He's doing a sweep.
Oh,
and it's just like, how the heck? Like he must have 6 fingers, you know? Like so, and I thought you came from the same species, honestly. So I check that out.
Well,
I would love to hear that from
definitely
you.
need to.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I will listen to that and then weep heavily. So thank you.
That's now the standard. Emil Garza is now the standard. That's in company, man. But yeah, Dream Speaking. Listen to that whole album, but specifically, Jinky Finds the Catnip.
Yeah. I'm
Me and
writing that down.
Kale's favorite.
Thank you so much.
I'm looking forward to your harmonic cover of like the Dune soundtrack of the guy doing the Tibetan throat singing. Like, when you do that,
God.
I'll be like, take my money, just take it all.
Okay, that's perfect. Then that's my Saturday sorted. Thank you.
All right, so since we're almost out of time, we have some questions still. You get ready for a lightning round?
I hate lightning rounds. Yes, let's do it.
Okay, go Kahai. First question, audience.
We actually don't have.
Okay, well, question
But I
for
mean,
me.
we do have. Rob did have a question. He said, "Can you explain your sleeves?
Your what?
Your sleeves for Sammy? His
Your sleeves.
Yeah.
Your tattoos.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. So I have one that is completely Star Wars.
Nice.
So, for example, that's an Imperial Guard. You've got TIE fighters, Kylo Ren. There's a Stormtrooper there, and it's all kind of done in watercolor. So it all kind of looks like paint.
Yeah.
Essentially, it is a great tattoo artist back in the UK. And then on this sleeve, it is all Gundam. So, which
Nice.
Yes, and that's basically, so it's those, but this one's completely black and white and goes all the way up there, big Gundam face and boys. And then this is the Star Wars arm, and that's essentially it. But the main one I get asked about all the time is the Hyrule crest on the hands. So Zelda forever.
You can't see it, but I'm swooning right now. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Gundam.
Kahai. He's sweating. He's just.
There's a tattoo behind my ear that obviously nobody ever sees, and it says, "Hey, listen."
Wow, Navi.
That's a real one.
Like it's one of those voices that, like, while I was playing the game, I'm like, shut up. Now, but I'm not playing the game. It's like I missed that. Like I missed it.
Yeah, no. Where did you go?
Where'd you go, Navi?
Come back.
You know?
Come back.
All right.
Come back.
Okay. Favorite Gundam.
Epion.
Okay. Regular or Gundam Wing?
Gundam Wing.
Favorite Star Wars character?
Lord above.
Prequel.
Prequels. Grievous.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Original trilogy.
Original. Oh, yeah.
Favorite character. Yeah.
The Scout Troopers.
Okay.
In
right.
Endor.
Okay. Oh, you can deep pulls. This guy knows his stuff. It's like, because I remember we had Maddie Dahlberg here, like Maddie D was.
Yeah,
I watched that. Yeah, I remember that.
And then we had, and you immediately text me, you're like, yo, I'm all for this Star Wars conversation.
Yes. I was loving it, man. I was loving it. Every little prequel. This is where the fun begins. I was like, I'm so in here.
How do you feel about Order 66? What's your take?
There's there's too many low G players in there, so I'm really glad it was
taking up
sussed
trash,
out, so.
Matty D. Such a
he's listening right now.
I was gonna say it like when we send you that low G banjo.
Yeah.
It's like, let the hate flow through you.
Hate flow through you.
You're gonna become stronger.
I'm gonna tune it up until it's an octave higher. So that's it. What it does to the banjolele in the meantime is not my fault.
Favorite ukulele song by an ukulele artist right now?
It would be the one I listen to the most is from Tay Mane's latest album. Oh no. Titles evade me.
Which album?
The latest one that she's done. It came out this year. It was. Hold on, give me 2 seconds, because otherwise I'm going to really hurt myself that I can't say it. But you know, Maluhia. Maluhia.
Oh yeah, Maluhia.
Maluhia. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely adore it. Absolutely perfect.
Nice.
I could listen to that every day, no problem.
Who is the buffest ukulele player, and why is it Kale Gamiao?
I mean, it is Calais, but if you've ever seen Timmy, I don't know his surname.
Timmy Junior from SoCal.
Yes.
Ah,
Exactly. I am the size of one of that guy's thighs, so that's him and Calais next to each other.
It's tough to get past his beautiful smile, you know? Like I could see the muscles if I'm not so entranced by how he's smiling.
He's got such a happy face, and he's genuinely the nicest dude. So yes, that's exactly. They're just there in case he has a bad turn one day, and he goes absolutely slaughtered. We're all dead.
But Calais, like I just want to gift him some like larger shirts, like I just want to. I feel like Calais, you could just go up a size or something. You don't have to wear children's size shirts, Calais.
I mean, I've already said I want to live in his pocket, so that's definitely to do with it. So
you'll get smashed if it's a shirt pocket. Just lose your shirts, Calais.
Ukulele guy in the chat said favorite Mario Kart character.
Oh, okay. Favorite Mario Kart character.
It's Isabelle.
Isabelle.
Obviously, the fastest Shih Tzu in the world.
You like handling like that because the smaller characters are really good at handling. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Any particular reason why?
Tight curves. I don't know. It feels like right on it. I remember back on Mario Kart Wii, it was always the bikes that I used to use, and that's because like they're real tight around the corners and have that. And on Mario Kart 8, it seems to be that the smaller characters especially can do that tight turning, so it just lines up. And also, she's adorable. She's a dog with a day job.
Yeah, she's very on my case all the time. You should make more stuff. This island is like not, doesn't have enough benches or whatever. Like you should make more benches.
And when she's not doing that, she's red shelling you, mate. So it's an awful relationship you have with her.
Let's see, favorite JRPG.
Oh, favorite JRPG. I mean, it must be Persona 5, but. Good running, so I do love the Xenoblade series.
Oh, okay. Did you play Xenogears? Did you play that?
No, I've never played Xenogears. No.
That's where
I know
started,
it should.
Man. System all stuff. Yo.
Should.
What's the matter? Just right after this, you don't even need to sleep. You just go play some Xenogears after this. Send me your Zelda. I'll play that for you instead, and then you play Xenogears.
Thank you. That's it. And then if I do that, who's gonna fill up the Ukulele Underground forum with the Logi hate?
Craig Chi.
So. Yeah, Craig.
He's really good with
hate. Perfect. Yeah.
Nah, Craig's like the nicest guy to
Call him out, man.
I know. I'm just see all these names I'm dropping. I just dropped them all over the floor.
Craig Chi, more like Craig
I know people.
G.
Hi, did you know that? Like I know uke players. Like I have their phone numbers.
Okay.
We chat on like Cardi Capilla, I think.
Yeah, I know that.
So let's see here.
I got one.
Sure.
Best Zelda game.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. Okay. Okay. Wind Waker.
Good one.
Okay.
It's a good one.
The GameCube is forever imprinted on me, so it was my favorite console ever.
That's why Double Dash is the best Mario Kart. Double Dash is the best Mario Kart.
I'm right there with you.
Yo, thank you. Somebody finally understands me. I'm about to cry right now. Last week we were talking about how I had my tear ducts removed, so I can't cry anymore. But if I did it, I would be crying right now.
Oh wow.
No. just joking. But
that's brutal. Good.
I'm gonna have kids someday, and I'd never want them to see their old man cry. And, you know, I've watched Coco, and it's like, I need these removed stat.
You know how he like plays that song at the end, and then the grandma's like, "Oh," and she remembers.
Yeah.
It's like your great grandkids are gonna bring you a GameCube, and you're gonna start crying.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, "Hey, great grandpa, you wanna play Double Dash with us?" I'm like,
the little theme will just come on, and just floods of tears.
yeah, hell yeah. See, man after my own heart, guy. All right, he's now my son. I will now adopt Sammy instead. Then you can be brothers. It's fine. You know, he'll just.
I had adopted by Aldrine on my checklist today, so that's good. I'm glad. I'm very happy to have that ticked off.
All right, so we're basically out of time. I know we're keeping you a little bit longer and stuff, but tell the audience once again all the stuff that you're that they can check you out at, or your Instagram. Plug all that stuff in right now.
Cool. So you can find me over on Instagram as @4stringboy, same with my YouTube channel. And then you can check out my website, 4stringboy.com. I've got loads of books, tabs, and memberships, lessons, and everything over there. So if you want to learn any of my harmonics techniques, all the lessons are on there or over on Patreon. So, but come over on Instagram and YouTube and just say hello.
Yeah. You want to dazzle the audience with a little harmonic something. It was like a 5-second, 10-second thing, just so that people are like, oh, okay, this guy talks about harmonics all the time. Let's kind of hear what he's got, you know?
I can do that. There's a very quickly. I have a song called Overcast, which you can stream on YouTube, but it's very harmonic based. Yeah.
Nice. I'm so glad I asked that. It's always a treat listening to you, man. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thanks for staying up. Give our apologies to your wife for keeping you up so late, you know. But tell her we
She's
said
extremely
hello.
patient. She lives with me, so her patience is already way too high. So it's no. It's been an absolute pleasure, man. Thank you so much for having me. It's a dream to be included in this part of the ukulele world.
Thank you. So I'm, looking forward to all the things you do in the future. I'm sure I'm gonna go to one of your concerts one day. I'm like, I had that guy on my podcast. That's that guy up there selling the millions of tickets right now. Make crashing Ticketmaster. That I know that guy. I play Mario Kart with him.
That guy's my brother. That guy.
I adopted him live on podcast.
Yeah. So he hates me, but he will respect. My stepfather. I hate you. Anyway, thank you so much, Sammy Turton, everyone. Yeah, go check him out.
Thank you so much.
All of that stuff. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Check him out on his website. Mahalo. And if he's ever in your town or in your area, or if you're looking for somebody to teach you some fingerstyle harmonics, you know who to go to now. All right? We'll see you folks next time. Aloha. Have a good weekend.